Impact 20. It is an honor to be part of what I hope is a record-breaking virtual conference. I am coming to you from my happy place, which is my backyard. You'll probably hear some birds chirping, wind chimes, sun, hopefully not too many planes overhead, but I think it's a perfect place to think big, and it's certainly where I like to think differently. So what I wanted to think differently with you about is how do we market and brand products for this COVID-aware world? I like to talk about how this time has been the ultimate elimination diet. So over the last 6 months, brands and products have been removed from our customers' lives at a dizzying rate. And there's a lot of folks who say, oh, but when everything goes back to before COVID, then I will do XYZ with my brand. And what I wanted to posit is that there really is no post-COVID, because we can't unexperience the things that we've been through. And so regardless of the solutions that come up from a medical perspective, our lives are still indelibly marked by the experiences that we've had and what I like to call this COVID-aware lens. So what is the implication of this COVID-aware lens? Well, put simply, people, not companies, are going to choose which brands and products to invite back into their lives. And even after this imminent threat passes, there are things that they are going to filter their preferences through. One is that materialism that lacks utility is canceled for 2020, for sure. And I think that 2021 and beyond is TBD. The second is that connection, real human connection, that is able to transcend the fear of disease. Now that is pandemic gold. So, this may seem like bad news, but I would like us to view it as opportunity, because the fundamental rules of marketing have not changed. Here are the 3 rules that I always go back to. Brands are tools, tools solve problems, and normally the best problem solvers win. So what are the most prominent problems in this new COVID-aware world? Well, I think we could have a really robust conversation about that, but I wanted to introduce 3 problems that I've observed and created a bit of a framework around in terms of different brand attributes. The first problem is that our customers are, and we are all overwhelmed. Our sensory receptors need a break, and we need a great distraction. So that's where distractor brands can play an incredible role. Think about the feeling you have when you drive through a Starbucks and pick up that $5 double caramel macchiato. For that brief moment, you have forgotten about all your pandemic worries. A perfect distractor brand. Second is that our customers and we all are more isolated than we have ever been. And that leads to a sense of loneliness that is epic and unprecedented. So the role that connector brands can play in helping to drive real human connection between people is critical and more difficult during this time. So an opportunity to differentiate around being a connector brand is huge. So Facebook and Zoom and YouTube all bring that to bear, but so do other companies outside of that industry. Think about Peloton. Peloton costs $2,000 in equipment and $49 a month in subscription fees. I would suggest they're able to command that type of fee because they're not just bringing fitness, they're bringing a level of community to the table. The third problem to solve, and this is a big one because it really is the nature of the problem itself, is that we have a lot of novel problems to solve concurrently. And these novel problems require you to take your existing solution, apply this COVID-aware problem lens to it, and then fundamentally transform the category. So I call these brands transformer brands, and they exist everywhere. I mean, think about what we've all had to do if you have kids at home and you're trying to educate them while working from home. There's a lot of cottage industries that have sprung up around the one-room schoolhouse learning pod pandemic pod solution that is low tech, but all about trying to solve for this very unusual educational situation we find ourselves in. So as we start to think about what kind of brand do we want to be in a COVID-aware world, I wanted to leave you with a few simple pieces of advice. The execution of them is more difficult, but the context of them is simple. The first is, let's get real with reality. This is happening. And companies, I think we've all seen, can lose precious time and competitive advantage by filtering these first-time events through a lens of their prior experience. This is unprecedented for a reason. The second is, let's stop worrying. I know that's hard, certainly for me. And let's start repositioning. The differentiators that propelled your brands before may not work in a COVID-aware world. So the key now is to own the new problems and start solving them. And then the last one is take that strategic plan and blow it up. Incremental solutions kill companies, especially when the world shifts beneath them. It's critical that your plan, your strategic plan, is fully ingesting this COVID-aware world that we now inhabit.